Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you over a service bed that I just built, show you a little bit about what I do for a living, and show you a little bit of the hardware that I use when building these service beds, and run you over why I use that stuff. So I build trucks for electricians and the oil field and a few other places. And what they do is they take off their old service beds and bring me a new truck to put them on, and I refurbish the service beds. So I go through, blast them down, paint them, redo lights, bumpers, wiring, vices, handles, fuel fillers, headache racks, and I just go through and redo the whole service bed, mount it on the truck, and send it on its way. So this bed happens to be a RKI, and that's actually one of the more common beds that I do. The RKI beds have a lot nicer steel. They're a lot stouter bed. They seem to hold up pretty well. But I end up using all Naphide hardware. So these are Naphide door hinge. I'm seeing got a little bit of sun glare right now. These are Naphide tail lights, and so that's the brand. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it. That's the brand I use right there. So that's another common bed manufacturer, and I don't have anything against their bed. I do like RKI a little bit better, but Naphide certainly makes the best hardware. So I strip all of the RKI stuff off of these beds. So RKI actually comes with a spring system that goes in there like that, and I just end up cutting these off, getting rid of that, and mounting a shock. So Naphide uses the shocks on these things, and they work a lot nicer. So those spring systems bind up, and they end up actually bending the doors on some of the beds here. So the spring systems work quite a bit better and a lot smoother, a lot nicer to deal with. RKI also has your steel latch that's clipped in the back here. It's actually just has a metal piece in the back that clips over it. Old Naphide, or on the old RKI hardware, you have these metal latches here, and for one, they don't work quite as well, and for two, they're actually just clipped on. Not sure how that one worked, but they're just basically clipped on with this bracket here, and so they're not as nice as these latches here. These latches, so you can see I got to cut back the doors a little bit and everything to get these Naphides in here. And then I actually have to add a new striker in here. But after that's done, they work really well. They look a lot better. These lock a lot better. They're just a lot nicer handle. Also, on the paint on these beds are super hard to paint. You don't have to worry as much about the body, but the doors show every imperfection. So they have to be sanded and blocked and perfectly prepped and primed before they go into paint. That was one of the lessons I learned. The darker the paint, the harder these things are to get to look decent. White's really easy. You can't really see any imperfections in this bed right now. Another thing I do is I use all stainless steel hardware. I've noticed, so like that right there, even after it's painted, the steel rusts, and you get little rust spots everywhere, and the water will get down in here and make these rust streaks coming out of the hardware. So with everything I put on, I end up using stainless steel hardware on everything that I can. That plate is powder coated. This is called a sugar scoop. The sugar scoop is powder coated. So come back here. These are actually stainless steel. There's a grade 8 washer behind there. but I end up using all stainless steel hardware and end up filling in all of the bolt holes that I don't use with stainless steel. These are panhead bolts, I believe they're called. And then I end up rhino lining over them to try to seal the bed as much as possible. Water ends up getting in a lot of places in these things and drips into the box. So this is actually just a filler piece here. This is a CNC billet piece of aluminum, one of the strongest light mounts that I found. And so these are both just the reason they ended up where they are is these are both filling up the old holes from the old lights on these beds. RKI has these big old boxes they put off the back with these two pop-in lights, and I just don't like them that much. These look a lot better. They're pretty durable. We haven't broke one yet. So I go through and rhino line the bumpers and everything like that. These guys that are stepping up here all the time, and the paint just gets worn off of those, and I found out that this just holds up a lot better over time, and it keeps looking pretty decent. You can't really wear this stuff down. So I went through, restored their vise, built a new vise mount for them. I lined all the way over the top of the beds, and these are actually headache racks for normal truck beds. And I end up cutting, since I like these headache racks, I cut the braces, the uprisers down, weld a plate, and I weld a bolt onto the bottom of that plate, so there's one bolt holding it on and it goes through. And then I line everything to seal this up, because if you leave these, they actually end up rusting out underneath the plate. So water will get in there and it won't dry too well, and it rusts out the top of the beds. So I just go through, let's see if, and it's just one bolt, and then they're all sealed up so water doesn't get down into the box. You can put things on top of the bed and it won't scratch or anything. It won't end up rusting. I lined the sides here because after it was painted, I ended up with a few little chips and scratches on there. So yeah, I went through and same thing on the front. I had a scratch on the other side, so that ended up getting lined to cover up that scratch. Other than that, I seen someone asked about a camera, what camera I was using. So I go through here, and of course they make the plug-ins that bolt in but plug into the factory Chevy adapter. I think Fords and Dodges are using real similar stuff. But this is a camera. You can't see it too well. But this is a billet aluminum housing on this camera. Really, really durable. And this is from a company called Camera Source. I know it's a little bit off, but it had 4 holes for the old plastic camera they had back there, and they broke that camera. So I was just trying to cover up some of those holes. But these cameras are excellent quality. They're way better clarity than the original cameras on these trucks. And these things are super, super stout. You could hit that with a baseball bat and you're not going to break it. So other than that, that's about it. These racks are from a company called Cargo Buckle, and they're integrated ratchet straps. So they just stay on there, and so I bought 4 of those. And then you could just bind your conduit or your wood or whatever to one side or all the way across. Those Cargo Buckle company, the headache rack is, I think from a company called Real Truck, if I'm not mistaken. This is an older headache rack that I went through and restored. And honestly, as people have probably already seen, the rust is already starting to come out. I should have taken them completely apart and coated them a little bit better, but I mean, these trucks will get pretty well used and abused over the next couple of years. So So another thing I do with the rhino lining is I try to bring it down over corners and get it on every corner possible. And the reason being, that's where most of your nicks end up, and that's where most of the rust and stuff ends up starting. So if you can get it on any corner that's going to be, especially this tailgate back here, and get it wherever it's going to be high traffic and everything, it definitely helps. That's where I've seen the most amount of wear on trucks. So I have a video of me lining another truck with Raptor liner, and I'm trying to find a place here, but this stuff is like I said, it's about 80 to 90 thousandths thick. Super thick. A lot better than that other stuff that I use. But I have one more bed to do, and I might try to line X or rhino line the entire bed. The service truck that they're bringing me is black, so I'm going to see if they just want to line the whole entire bed. That'll be the first time I ever try that, but we'll see how it turns out. So that's a little look at what I do for a living, and I know a few people are asking about certain hardware and stuff to put on service beds. So hope that helps somebody out there, and thanks for watching.